The Walking Dead, why Negan's kill had to be Glenn. Every single person on the internet seems to have a thoroughly fleshed out theory on who died in the closing moments of The Walking Dead's Season 6 finale. From Glenn, to Abraham, to Daryl, to Rosita, there's hard evidence to support every single theory. From now on, we're going to flesh out each one of those theories each day and let you decide which is most concrete. Today, we'll start with Glenn Rhee. Glenn being the victim of Negan's kill is probably the most popular theory. The biggest reason for Glenn being the popular theory is Negan's arrival in The Walking Dead comics. When he showed up, he offered a long monologue just like he did on the show, plus a whole lot of swearing, and concluded with the most vicious game of eenie-meenie-minie-moe imaginable. Ultimately, it was Glenn. Negan proceeded to bash Glenn's skull as everyone looked on in horror, and he struggled to call out for his wife, Maggie. However, The Walking Dead tends to swap deaths when adapting them to TV. For example, in the comics, Tyreese got his head cut off while it was Hershel on television, and Abraham was killed by Dwight's arrow on the pages, but it was Denise on TV. So, we're going to need more proof. From a storytelling standpoint, Glenn makes the most sense. Losing the core character who found Rick and introduced him to this group in the first place would have a huge impact on Alexandria's perspective of Negan. He comes in and takes out a friend, a husband, and a soon-to-be father. Few other characters could spark more hatred for Negan as his victim. Then, there's the audio some folks have analyzed. If the subtitles are indeed accurate, then Glenn is a sure thing goner. Have a look and listen. The analysis of the audio seems like the most substantial evidence condemning Glenn's fate. On top of that, Glenn was on one far end of the 9-person lineup. Between Negan's "you are" and "it" lines, he took a considerable amount of steps and held a solid pause. This would seem to indicate that he was walking from one end to the other and finding either Eugene, who was on one end, or Glenn, who was on the other. Then, there's the fact that we saw the beating from the victim's perspective. Throughout the episode, we saw the perspective of a certain character from inside the van where Michonne, Rosita, Michonne, and Glenn were being held hostage. Rosita's death would have little impact on Alexandria. Rick would have interjected before allowing Michonne to be slaughtered. Daryl was too weakened by his gunshot to withstand the blow to his head and get back up. Finally, Steven Yeun has committed to a new film titled Mayhem. Mayhem films this month, just as The Walking Dead cast and crew head back to Atlanta to film the show's 7th season. By these standards, all signs point to Glenn being the victim of Negan's kill. The Walking Dead returns in October.